What are the best artificial intelligence cryptocurrencies to potentially invest in? That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to summarize all the past episodes I did over the last week where I focused on different AI every day in categories and compared many of them. I'm going to go through them fairly quickly, talk about which the winners are. Here they are, and here are all the categories we went over. I'm going to discuss those and then what I call honorable mentions. Some that may be a little riskier, but if you want to go down that risk curve, they could have potentially a much greater growth. I'm Brian. I'm a big dumb animal. That's my disclaimer. Don't do what I do. Informational purposes only. Please do like the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. Leave comments or questions. And I also have a school community that I always discuss. There's a link down below. It's a paid community, but in there we discuss every day various cryptos, and then I have courses to teach everything related to crypto. There's a lot to learn and know. Okay, let's get started. Without further ado, let's talk first about the categories and why that matters, then the cryptos here, and then we'll get to the honorable mentions that I didn't discuss before. First, if you go to cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap, you can go to categories. Now, there are an unbelievable amount of categories. There are essentially 4 that they've used for AI. So if you were to just go to this top AI and big data, which basically encompasses all of them, and for example, you were to just pick 5 out of the top group, well, that may not be the best approach. You might get lucky, but my approach is to say, all right, what are the subcategories within AI? And which ones do I want to choose in those subcategories? What do I mean by that? For example, some of them just provide compute power. Some of them are creating AI models, like in ChatGPT or something, where you can teach it and ask it questions. Others are creating AI agents. Some are involved in DeFi and AI, and that's exactly how they categorized them. Here are the AI big data ones. Then they've got the top agents. They've got generative AI, and they've got DeFi AI. So first, the first one we're going to talk about was BitTensor. In general, BitTensor is the largest by far. Fully diluted market cap is 6.8 billion. The closest one to that might be 3 billion. This one's Filecoin, not really an AI. That's the other thing. Some of these fit here and some don't. So BitTensor is creating an AI model. It's very well known, has a big social following. It's been around for a bit. It's about half the price of its all-time high. It's one of the largest market caps. So therefore, it might be one of the less risky, maybe the first or largest, possibly first mover advantage AI model that's decentralized, which of course provides transparency as well as security. That might do very well. So that's really the only one, I believe, in that category, creating a huge online AI model. If that interests you, that's the one. Next, I was looking at agents. We looked at, under the agents category, the top 2. That's not why I picked them, but I do believe they are the 2 best, and they're slightly different. Fetch and Virtual. Fetch 1.8 billion, Virtual 1.5 billion, both very close. No one else even comes close to that. We'll talk about some others in this list. Fetch essentially, and I'm summarizing everything to go somewhat quickly. If you want to watch the videos, there's links down below to the full video. Fetch is creating a development stack, if you will, so that people can use it to create their own AI models. 4 different cryptos came together to create the ASA. One was Fetch, Singularity, Oceans, and then another one called Kudos, which provides some computational power. So they're a development stack. Virtual's protocol has the ability, you can create agents. You can also sell part of them. So you or I could go in and buy part of an agent. If that agent happens to make money, that money would be distributed. I believe from a development technical standpoint, I would go with Fetch. But when it comes to something that's very interesting and gets markets' attention, Virtual seems to do that. A lot of people talk about it. It's a completely different angle on these agents, but it might take off for that reason. Technically speaking, I'm going to go with Fetch, but it might be outperformed by Virtuals if it gets more social attention. All right, the next one is compute power. So we've all heard about NVIDIA and how their boards just went through the roof, what they call GPUs, and went to the roof, meaning everyone was buying them because of AI and how much compute power it needs. So two companies that I chose to compare, Render, you've probably heard about quite a bit, 2 billion fully diluted, and a competitor, Aether. We'll talk about two others, but these two I compared, and Aether's at 1 billion. Render's been around longer, since 2017. It's got an 8-year head start. It was created by a company that has software to do create graphical images, that thing for movies, video games, whatever it may be. And then, of course, once you want to create the final version, which is called rendering, you then need the computational power to do that. Most people don't want to pay for them to get them in-house. So then they came up with, well, let's just put a bunch of them together and use other people's compute power and create a network of them. I say compute power, but it's GPU power. And that's what they did. So they were the first to do it. Now, in the past, they've shown data on how many GPUs they have and that sort of thing. For some reason, it's really no longer on their site. Maybe because others have outpaced them. So Aether was the other one. And Aether did trailing revenue last 12 months of 141 million. Now their market cap, I think, is only about 260 million. So that's only a 2x. However, their fully diluted value is little over 1 billion. So they're about an 8 to 10x comparing their trailing 12-year revenue to their current fully diluted value. In technology space, if you invest in technology stocks, you'll know that a 10x multiple is nothing. 20, 40, 50, 100 is not uncommon. So I think that's a great buy. Now, Render may get more attention. It probably does get more attention. Been around for a while. It seems like every YouTuber talks about it. I think it will do well. I would say that that's the safer bet if you're trying to do a risk reward on, how much capital do you want to risk on something versus how much do I think it's really going to go up. I would think, although there's no accounting for the social component of people spreading news and getting others to invest. You really can't account for that. So Render is kind of like a virtuals that may do that. I think Aether is the better. They put out information on revenue. They put out information on GPUs. I happen to own both because I'm just covering all my bases. But in that category, I would go with Aether. Then layer ones. Well, layer ones specific to AI. The ones that seem to pop out the most are Near Protocol, Internet Computer, and Injective is always seems to be in that discussion. Injective is a little more in the not in the AI space, in the DeFi space. There's their backstory in a nutshell. ICP, as you know, is, I would call it more of a generic layer one. And I don't mean in technology. I mean in terms of how broad it is and how many industries can use it and how valuable it is to so many different people. You can do everything on chain. So the applications are enormous. Is it excellent for AI? Yes. Now they came out with something called Caffeine AI, but that was more software helping you speak applications into existence. All right. So it's broader. It helps with AI, but it wasn't created solely for the purpose of AI. All right. Near Protocol. Watch that video that I've got on those three, but I have a video linked there that goes back to an older one that I did. There's a time when they didn't discuss AI too much, but then they started to. They've been around for quite a while. I want to say almost 2017 as well, or maybe longer. They got together to create and develop AI projects, realized that the blockchains that were out there weren't as useful as they needed. So that foundational layer wasn't as good. So they reversed and said, we think we can just create a layer one optimized specifically for AI. They thought it would take 6 months. It took 7 years. Glad they did, because now we have Near Protocol. I think that one is a sleeper because they've optimized a layer and a foundational layer for AI specifically. They're at just a 2.6 billion fully diluted market cap. So in that group, I choose Near. All right, now I want to talk about what I call the honorable mentions that I didn't discuss in the other videos. Now, first off, when we talked about Render and we talked about Aether in terms of providing compute power. So here's another one. There's two I'm going to discuss also in that category. Market cap 360 million, fully diluted only 360 million. So you don't have to worry about big dumps of tokens on the market. And that's a much smaller market cap. And what do they provide? Decentralized physical infrastructure, DePIN, powering Web3. It's the exact same thing that Render and Aether are doing. They're both in DePIN. It's always great when something can cross multiple industries. So DePIN is an industry in and of itself, but some of them are optimizing it for AI by having things like specific to GPUs. The second one in that category is IO.net. Market cap 113 million. Only a small percentage of crypto is out circulating because they're fully diluted is 500 million. And IO.net, the internet of GPUs, they are also in that exact same space. They are ranked number 290. AOIZ was ranked number 133, much smaller market caps. So if you want to spread out your purchases and maybe spread out your risk, these might do a higher multiple. Don't really know. Those two I like a lot, and I do believe I own one or two of those. Okay, just assume I own everything. Just assume I'm here only promoting things because I want you to buy it so I can make money. That's not the case, but that's what everyone always says. They accuse me and others of saying, you just want to pump your bags, as they say, which drives me crazy. I have like 5,000 people subscribed. I'm not moving the markets. Okay, the other ones that I think are very interesting when it comes to AI agents. Here's the first one, PAL AI, P-A-A-L AI. It's at a market cap of 100 million, fully diluted 100 million. Basically, everything's out. Okay, well, 100 million is way less than the 1 billion or 2 billion we were looking at. This is in the agent category. PAL, and we will scroll down here. They've got different use cases of how you can use these bots, these agents. They've got them for communities, groups, that sort of thing. So they can obviously answer questions and basically keep things lively. They've got enterprise agents, AI-driven assistance for specific tasks and workflows. Who doesn't want that? Autonomous trading agents for trading. If they could do that for you and make a profit, that's awesome. And I believe they say they've got 100,000 AI apps out there. So I like PAL when it comes to some of these, for me, because number 326, it has to have something like interesting investors, interesting founders, or decent technology. They explain it well, and they're actually executing. 100 million market cap, much smaller, could be much riskier. It's much farther down the curve of market caps when you rank them that way, but could have a better trajectory. LimeWire is the next one. LimeWire is very interesting. It's very different than many because then they've got a 27 million market cap, 50 million fully diluted, half circulating. And let me just show you. You go to LimeWire's homepage, or you're all probably familiar with sharing files, large files. You can just come right to their site, upload it, share it with other people, but more importantly, edit it with AI. They have all of these tools, whether it's images or PDFs, you name it, but in PowerPoints, Word documents. So you can easily upload, you can collaborate, so many people in officeless environments, but also now we're all using AI to help with all sorts of things. Graphics, text, you name it. And you use that coin to pay for their services. I think it's very unique. 50 million market cap is nothing. Horrible chart. Pretty much everything shot up March, April of 2024. Also November, December 2024. Its March, April was almost $2. Its November, December was only 50 cents. Now, many of them got pretty close to their March, April prices. So this is much lower. And then it's even lower now at 8 cents. So 8 cents to almost $2. Well, that's like a 20x or so. But that's not how you evaluate it. You look at the chart itself, that's all selling pressure. It's not something I would jump in. It's something I am watching because I think it could do very well. It's very unique, but if it doesn't get any eyeballs and people don't have any interest, it's going to tank. So this is one that I'm completely holding off to see what happens to it when if the overall market starts to move and it doesn't budge, not touching it. But it's one on my list. All right, the last one is Palm AI. Just get an idea. It's number 779. Market cap 20 million, fully diluted 20 million. Extremely small. Now you can get it on Gate.io and MEXC and Uniswap. It's a little more difficult to get. But what is interesting about it is that it's the only one at the moment that I'm purchasing in the decentralized AI space. Financial DeFi. They put DeFi and AI together. I think in this space, this subcategory of AI is going to explode. But I think it's farther down the curve, meaning I'm not sure it will in this bull run, if you will. The idea that I could use an agent to help with my DeFi, quick example, off the top of my head, big dummy, people are going to have better ones. But let's just say I have a lot of stable coins and I want to achieve the highest rate of return, kind of like a bank account. Well, online, you can go to a borrow lend protocol and get an APY there for putting up your stable coins as collateral. But those rates can vary. Sometimes they can be very high. But you have to watch it because when they come down, you might want to move it somewhere else. You might have to bridge it onto another chain. You might want to go put it into liquidity pools with some other crypto, whatever it may be. But I could see a time where I could use this agent and I could say, here's one of my goals. Please take my stable coins and achieve for me the highest rate of return. By the way, here's where I am on the risk curve. I don't want too risky, but I don't want completely 100% safe because the APY won't be as good. Put me at 70% risk, whatever that is. And then it decides where to put me based on my risk tolerance, at the same time achieving the highest possible yield. Okay, that's just one of a million examples. I don't think that market has matured enough to do that, but that's coming and that is going to be amazing. So this is the only one I've invested in at the moment in that space. Whether or not it does anything this time around, I have no idea. Again, 20 million market cap, 20 million fully diluted. I'm betting on it. Who knows? Could be one of my losers. All right. So that's it. I wanted to go over all of those AIs and point out that I'm looking at one in different subcategories. I think that makes sense. If I was all in one category, if I said, you know what, the only thing in AI I'm going to buy are those providing compute power. And what if I'm dead wrong and no one cares about those and the AI agents or the DeFi AI agents go through the roof? I'd feel like a bigger moron than I am and it would upset me. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to spread out and pick one or two in each of those categories. Therefore, if 3 out of 4 move, I don't miss it. So that's the idea behind this. I'm now going to start going into other categories like DeFi and subcategories within DeFi. Thanks for watching. Hope we can all make generational wealth together with crypto. Have a great day.